I would say what's most alive for me right now is when communities and organizations and teams working together. There's often um, difficulties with trust, and then a fair amount of undercurrents of things that people are not sure what they can talk about, how they can bring those forward. Is there the container to hold those? So I think that's a huge issue. How do you kind of build enough trust in a container that these things can be voiced without getting kind of stuck in the negative and the challenge? Like, can they be voiced and worked through in a productive way of how do we solve this together? So how do you really get that basis of trust and positive orientation of we can step into this and there's a way and we can do it. And um, so I think that's a big challenge for teams and communities.
What I notice is a lot of cynicism in the world right now around, I think, can issues that are important to people, actually be addressed, or do they feel like they're they're stuck with pat answers, um, or that they have to just let go of certain things that they want to reach for? What do you think is going on there for people?
Yeah, I think that's a great point. So I think that the world around us and what we're seeing in the news and social media and so on is very polarized, right? It's very based on mistrust and debate and opposition. So we're kind of swimming in that sea. So we don't have a lot of models of the people on our TV screens and social media screens sitting down and kind of saying, well, maybe you have a point. Can you tell me more about that? Let's explore. Maybe we can find a mutually win-win situation solution here. So we don't see that around us. We see the opposite. So we're very much, I think, in a sea of mistrust and polarization. So it's not encouraging for us to think, well, there's ways we can sit down with our teams and our communities and work this through. So I think that's one aspect. So then it's easy to get kind of cynical, basically. Um, so it would be really great if we could have more models and demonstrations of this kind of um, more trust based and dialogue based work.
And there's a lot of sound clips of just do these 5 steps, and then your problems will be solved. And I think I imagine that the people that we're looking to speak to for this offering are people who are not satisfied or see um, the folly in that. And so, and at the same time, we all have busy lives. And so, how do we address something in a meaningful way, but not have to give our whole lives over to it?
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, there's so many things you can just Google, and it's 5 steps for creating a healthy team, and um, it's not these things aren't easy. We can't just read a blog with the 5 steps and we're done. It's so, and there's a lot of stuff out there. Might again contribute to the cynicism. It's like I've read 20 articles now of the 5 steps I can do, and it's not working for me. So I think it's important to really connect with it, that it is possible. You can really get strong teams, strong communities, really working together with high trust and high communication and ability to step into the difficult conversations. It's important to know that's possible and to see examples of that. And then really, what I want to focus about in our talk is what does that look like on the ground? What are some of the real struggles that communities and teams that have done that, including Clear Sky, that we'll draw a lot of examples from, and our Planet Dharma virtual community. What were the challenges? What did we have to lean into? What helped build trust? It's a slow process, organic process. It's a deep process, and I think sharing some of these stories and bringing out some of the patterns maybe can really help people see what a give hope and some confidence this can be done, and then B, see some steps that they might apply, um, places they can start with their own teams and community.
And I'm wondering about the range of people and the context that they might be in. People who feel like they generally have a good team or community, and they're looking to kind of really figure out how to gel it or take it to the next level. And then there's people who might be kind of despairing at what they see as being a dysfunction that feels like it's insurmountable. And what is one of those groups a better audience for what you're looking to share, or is it about bringing the whole continuum to the table?
Well, what comes up for me as you say that actually is that for anyone that's working in a team or community, you can feel one way, the first way about it one day, and the second way about it another day. So in that sense, I think the whole continuum. Um, and yeah, an important part is actually, particularly for the first kind, is to reconnect and recognize also what's working. It's very easy just to focus on the challenges or the difficulties or what we're missing. And if we are working in a team, there's the chances are there's some good things too, and there's work that has been done. So that's an important thing to reconnect with, because we have to kind of start from we have to start with what's working and what's common. If nothing else, than the vision of we're here together and we want to find a way to make it work, even if we really feel it's not working now. That's at least a strong positive or shared thing to start with. So I think the whole range, and yeah, as they say, on any given day, it might feel like one or the other. So we have to be able to how do we lean into it, and how do we find the resources and resilience and trust when it's a really difficult day, when it feels like nothing's working and this is not going to work and it's all falling apart. We're going to have those days. So how do we lean into those?
And and then in terms of the actual experience of coming to Congress, coming to this session, how much will you inform the session based on who's in the room and what kind of questions and places that they're at, versus this being the first step of sharing the ideas that could then be worked on later?
Yeah, I see it as a mix. So I think our idea is, certainly share some ideas and some stories, give a bit of a framework, and some models for people to learn from, or to spark their questions, or, oh yeah, we went through that challenge, or so on. But definitely really want to make space to hear what's up for people, and see what I can hear what's up for people and see what I can share in terms of the different journeys and communities I've been involved in that might help. So hopefully we get a real juicy conversation going.
Great. And then one last thing, I think, just to see if something comes up, the three terms in the Conscious Transformation Collective are each intentionally chosen, and the third is collective. And so most of our offerings are one of the drivers is to build a community of practitioners who can support each other in the work. And I'm wondering if there's anything that you would want people to know about coming to the session that would speak to that.
Yeah, great question. One of Clear Sky's principles that we love to quote is it's easier with others. Um, and sometimes it's funny when we teach that, the first the people in the class first say, look very dubious and go, no, it's harder with others. um, but if we can do this work and lean into this work, it can really become easier with others. So I think from the collective side, yeah, I think the problems and challenges that we're facing in the world, none of us are going to solve those individually, and everyone has a piece of the puzzle or an angle or an insight. So for me, the collective is really important. In fact, that's the whole point of the talk in a way. So how do we come together as a collective? That's a generative way that we can, oh, Christopher, you've got this insight or this piece of the puzzle. Let's weave that into the picture, and this person has this piece. Because it's if a team is not well functioning, then it's I think they say its IQ level is much less than a single person. We're kind of somewhat, very, oh, what shall we do? But a high functioning team, the IQ becomes a, a multiplied factor of the team members, because you can draw on those different collective positions and wisdoms. So that's what I'd say. Let's embrace collective and tap into that deeper wisdom, because that's what we're going to need to work through the things we need to work through.
Beautiful. Yeah, thank you very much for that. Yeah, and I would just make the comment, what I hear from that, um, what excites me about doing this work with you in this context is that people who come to the event won't just be getting support and clarity and potential uh, next steps about how to address what they're looking for in their groups outside of the session, but that we're also building a community of people who can support each other in that work, because that will accelerate it. But also sometimes we do feel alone in those other contexts, but we can develop a group that will we be able to support each other to
Yeah.
build that capacity together.
Yeah, and that's such a great point, is the feeling alone, because if we're struggling, it can often feel our problems are insurmountable and so on. So yeah, just even that, even if another person has that problem and hasn't found a solution, just knowing that they're also struggling with it is a huge support. So yeah, that's well put.